Lunchtime.
Heyo.
It was a sudden last-minute adjustment I had to make.
Threw everything off for spinning into space. 0G.
Yeah.
So what do you want to talk about, man?
I don't know.
I'm going to Columbus, Ohio tonight. I've got my friend of the pod shirt on to see John Lovett and his Love It or Leave It podcast. A live taping of it. I presume it's
John Lovitz?
John Lovett, not John Lovitz.
Guy, Dr. Katz guy?
Nope. Not him.
No?
Nope.
Shit. All right.
Obama era speechwriter.
I'm woefully out of date on my Lovitz.
He's a funny guy. I presume it's going to be tomorrow's podcast. I'll be seeing tape tonight. But I'm looking forward to it. I've never been to a live taping.
The stage.
I've never been to a live taping of a podcast before.
No?
Yeah. I know that.
I have.
Have you really? What have you?
I went to a Mabim Bam, and I went to a couple of
Where'd you go to a Mabim Bam? And when?
Tennessee.
When did you do that?
I don't know, like 6 months ago, maybe.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think you ever told me about that. Or if you did, I don't remember it. Well, how was it? Was it worth it?
Yes. Traveling to
a 6-hour drive.
I think it was Nashville.
Yeah.
I can't quite remember. I think it was Nashville. Is probably not worth it. A 6-hour drive for a taping for like a 1-hour taping of a podcast. Probably not worth it. But driving to Columbus, that's not so
only
far.
90 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not asking you if you can make I'm saying, do you feel like it was worth it, you, Jim Jones?
Oh, yeah. I had a good time.
Okay. Well, there you go.
And I don't know what else I would want from a podcast taping other than a good time.
Right. Because that's why, like, if someone ever drove 6 hours to see me at some, and someone asked him if it's worth it, I wouldn't want the answer to be yes. Like, yeah, it's like, yeah, I get it. It's not worth it for everybody. Some people think it's ridiculous, but no, because was it pretty much a 1-to-1 representation of the show, or were there edit points in there?
It was pretty much 1-to-1.
Because this, it feels like they got commercial breaks that they're gonna take little breaks
Yeah.
for, and I also think that they record for 2 hours and edit it down to like 70 minutes. So
yeah, it probably
That's what I've
depends
heard
on
anyway.
the podcast. Like,
Yeah.
for us,
How
it would
produced it
almost be
is.
1-to-1.
yeah,
For other shows, probably not.
yeah, because we've done a couple podcasts live, and they were all just pretty much straight to reel and straight to the internet.
Yeah, we record on reels here.
Yeah,
Tape, old school tape reels.
we do. It's one of the things that holds us back. I'm thinking about taking an armful of our leftover Jon Snow shirts. House
And
show snacks.
throwing them on stage in the middle.
Yeah,
of the show.
yeah, throwing them because they're all the Cricket Media boys and girls are massive Game of Thrones fans. Like, they have watch parties and everything. So I think maybe it would be, I'm wearing their merch. I'm doing a cultural merch exchange with Mr. Lovett.
Jump up, shout, "Eat snow," and then hurl one at the snow.
You know nothing, and then throw the shirt at them, and they're horribly offended. And they get backstage like, oh wait, I get it now.
Yep.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing else to talk about,
I don't think so.
let us move on to the Q's and the A's. Do you have a tweet?
I think so. What day would it be 7 days ago that
Beats the fuck out of me, man.
I want to
The
say
28th. Oh no, last Friday was the 27th.
Okay, well then let's start with this one. It's a visual one, so it's tough to do on the podcast, but maybe I'll spin it and show it to the video people. He says hair grows back amazingly fast. An average cut is 4.40 plus tip. Is that talking about like the
40 plus
length
tip?
of the guard or something? I don't know. We were talking about hair and shaving your head and stuff
Oh yeah.
at some point. Yeah. So Mr. A.T.M. Mitchell.
That looks like a pretty low guard. Like, I don't think that's a number 4 guard. A number 4 guard would see. Well, 1 is like an 1/8, 2 would be a 1/4, 3 would be what?
Yeah, like I usually go
3/8, 4,
2s
so
on the sides.
yeah,
when
you're
I
like a
get
4 is
my
a
hair cut.
half-inch guard. That looks like significantly shorter than a half-inch.
Yeah.
Is he saying $40 for a cut?
Oh, 40 plus tip. Yeah.
Damn.
Okay. Why does this 40 look so weird?
I don't know.
It might be like 40.
Because
usually an O is larger, and I thought
maybe it says 0 key broke.
Is your 0 key broke? Let us know if
There was a Reddit post that got to the front page just because some dude they're like, wait, why are you using an O for zero? And he like later in the comments like, my keyboard just fucking broke, like the zero key was shit out, and I thought I could get away with, but no, fucking gotta go to front page Reddit that shit.
At least put a capital O.
What was this in regards to? Were we?
I think we were talking about like maybe not last week, but the week before, because this was right after last week's lunch started.
I noticed that the gentleman is black,
or ended.
And I'm given to understand they have unique hair care. Like
I imagine everybody's like shaved head though is pretty similar. Yeah,
I don't know, man, because like if it's a different texture and like it's like, you know, if you have kinky hair versus straight hair, like
I know lowercase o about this. So.
Well, you should watch Atlanta, because there's a whole episode devoted to a man's devotion to his barber and the links and the bullshit that he will put up with before switching, because the other guys, I don't know if he knows how to cut hair, you know?
Yeah, it's risky business. I mean, I'd struggle with that too.
Yeah. I mean, I was paying, like, I stopped doing that because now Cecily shaves my head in the basement, like my fucking mom.
We don't need to know about this.
The details? Yeah, really? Where I get Vaselined up from head to tippy toe. Apologies to Dr. Disrespect. But yeah, I was paying like 28 for just having my head shaved and shampooed and a scalp massage.
Yeah.
So yeah. It depends on where you live.
How much you want to spend between haircuts. I gotta get my haircut pretty soon.
I remember a big scandal in the Bill Clinton era was he paid apparently $400 for a haircut on the tarmac at some point.
Yeah. I feel like the president should get free haircuts. Like there should, I mean, you get free haircuts in the military, right?
I bet. No,
Can he not just walk into a branch?
I'm certain there is a naval barber that will give you a high and tight or a classic business or a Don Draper, and it will be like you can measure its precision with a laser bounced off the moon.
Yeah.
You know, but Bill Clinton pays for $400 haircuts, and I remember that being a huge scandal at the time. Huge scandal. Oh my God,
$400 haircuts. Who cares?
Yeah, well, I mean, in this day and age, I mean, honestly, I do feel like that's outrageous. Like,
I mean, I would never pay that personally.
Bill Clinton's French fry swilling ass would never pay $400 of his own dollars for a haircut. I firmly believe that. So it's like that's
sure
where
he pays $400 to this day.
You think so?
But he probably has the.
I think he's overpaying.
He probably has the all-time president privileges.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like that was a discount for him.
I mean, maybe
it's like, shit, you're the president. I'll give you $100 off.
I don't know. Maybe the $400, like, because that's the other things you never know. Because the $400 might have like been part of the security check for the barber to make sure he's not going to stab him in the neck, and getting him onto the tarmac so he could get on Air Force. Like, who the fuck knows what goes? It's like why, you know, like the Independence Day thing. Like, why does a hammer cost $700? Because, you know, not 695 of that is going to fund Area 51 or whatever.
Yeah.
So whatever. That's seems expensive cut, but you look sharp. You look sharp there.
Yep.
Murder Bear from Kentucky. Here's a question I didn't think I'd be asking anyone. Have you seen the new Celine Dion music video? He links it. It's the first thing on the lunch thread for today. Oh, by the way, happy Star Wars Day, everybody. May the 4th.
Oh yeah.
May the 4th be with you.
We should have done something.
We should have like fucking live watched our Star Wars collection or something.
Here we go. I'll bring a special guest star into the studio here.
The Dark Lord of the Sith, one Anakin Skywalker, Lord Vader. All right, this is a special occasion. A half-size Darth Vader has mini Vader has entered the studio.
All right, Darth is gonna sit here with me for the duration.
All right, make sure you just cradle his codpiece. That's what you want to do. There you go. There you go. Get in his inner thigh.
Vader.
So this is Celine. I guess Deadpool 2 has commissioned Celine Dion to make an original song and video, and you know, Deadpool's dancing sensuously in the background of it. I mean, it seems like a genius marketing plan. And I expect nothing less from Celine Dion and Deadpool. All right, your turn.
Speaking of dancing,
you can't just wave Vader all day. You gotta have to read tweets.
Dancing sensuously, move those hips, Vader. Okay.
He's more machine than man now. I'm digging it.
Gibraltar says
twisted and funky.
In light of Aaron talking about turf on the Bald Lunch on Friday, I like to share my turfed backyard, and he sends another picture. God damn it, you people in your pictures. Installed in 2015 and cost about $5,500. Oh, he says poop comes up easy. I just have to rinse it down every 3 weeks for the pee.
Yeah.
Even got the fake hydrant.
Oh, so he's got. So this is the field turf.
Holy shit! That's 5,500 for that amount of space.
Yeah, but you never have to do anything
you would
to
spend
it for
like
30 years.
30 grand on your yard, man.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe. Like I think my backyard is about twice as big as that front yard, as far as I can tell. So I'm thinking 10 grand and then do a zero escaping on the front. But I'm saying like that is definitely small. That's definitely bigger than your backyard, right?
Oh yeah.
So you're not going to pay.
Oh, way bigger.
You're not going to pay $2,500 to get fisted by the Dark Lord of the Sith. The fuck?
I'm trying to get him to stand up.
You're not going to pay. You're not going to now. The force is you're feeling the force. Now you're not going to pay $2,500 to never worry about your backyard again. I feel like that's something you would do. I feel like that's entirely within the Jones character.
Absolutely, absolutely, it is.
Except for I don't think you plan on being here for the ROI of that thing.
God, I would never ROI out on that.
Because that's the thing. Like if you're gonna live at a place for 10, 15 years, I bet with you if you figure out if you add up the cost of the gas, the oil, the maintenance, replacing the mower every 10 years or so, however how long it takes to fuck up. I bet it's the break even is in the 10 to 15 year range, kind of like solar panels, I guess.
Yeah. I would probably do solar panels over the yard.
I bet it'd be a selling point too.
Honestly,
I bet it'd be a selling point. Like this yard is zero maintenance. You don't have to do a goddamn thing. It's always going to look good. You don't have to water it. Your kids can piss and shit on it. It's good to go. Boy, getting handsy with Vader there. Right, just put your fucking thumb right in his left eye.
You can still see him. He's still back here.
Okay. Is it your turn? No, it's my turn.
Yeah.
That was a turf question. Joshua H. from Omaha, Nebraska. While Better Call Saul isn't perfect, I think most would deem it a success. Are there any TV shows, past or present, that you'd like to get a spinoff for? Prequel or sequel?
Spinoff for a TV show.
So this is essentially a question of, is there a side character?
I mean, I think we came up with
any shows that we've seen recently that we would like to see spun off.
Well, we came up with a really good one on Quip not too long ago.
What was that?
It was where Joan and Peggy go off and start their own airline.
Oh, yeah.
And I forget what it was called.
Yeah.
We had a really good name for it, but yeah, they go off and start their own airline and make it a sort of feminist airline.
I mean, you wouldn't have to do much to get me to watch a show called Mad Women that is an analysis of the decade of the 70s, seen through women's liberation and all that.
Yeah.
Like, if you get Elizabeth Moss and Christina Hendricks attached to it, done deal. You just answered the question. Because I'm trying to think, like, man, I don't know. What show have I seen? There's like, like there's a couple easy, like I would watch a couple seasons of Omar ripping and rolling in the streets of Baltimore. It piss off, David Simon. He would never approve it. I'm trying to think what else.
A spinoff of Fear the Walking Dead.
What about Boyd? Like a companion piece to Justified. Maybe it's called Unjustified, or it's just about Boyd's kind of like, it's just the opposite. It's literally the opposite of Justified.
We missed a perfect name for our podcast.
What?
Unjustified. That would have been a great name for the podcast.
The Justified podcast?
Unjustified.
Unjustified.
Yeah.
That's true. Because we're the officially unofficial, so we'd be the officially unjustified podcast. That's got to go back 4 or 5 years and change it all. I mean, Justified was such a cornerstone show in our Bald Move strategy too. Your turn, man.
Whoa, gotta scroll up. Captain Stubby says, thoroughly enjoyed hearing the Bald Move skits on your final The Walking Dead podcast. Would like love to see you do them for current podcasts, i.e. Westworld. Huh.
What's that? Instant?
No, skits.
Oh.
But
yeah.
Look, we do skits because the show was inherently ridiculous. And there are not a lot of shows that we cover that are inherently ridiculous.
Yeah.
The whole skit thing started because there was something really stupid that happened early on in Walking Dead, and we wanted to make fun of it.
Right.
And then
in a way that
stupid things kept happening.
Also, like, that was in the day where the fan base was still solidly on the Walking Dead side, so like that's a way to coat it with give it with a spoonful of sugar. Like, it's an absurd situation, so you just lean into it. You're not you know, it's the least offensive way to criticize something people love is to use humor. So there's not many shows that we traditionally watch where I get done with it, I'm like, oh my god, can you? Because that's the other thing. These things happen organically. We just be like, you know, I was already doing my Rick Grimes voice, and like, you know, when we were discussing things or having dinner or talking about the podcast, I would, you know, we'd talk about, you know, isn't that weird? Like they threw Glenn down that well, or, you know, like all these black dudes die after getting 5 minutes of background character development, and you know, people are starting to write about it, and it's a touchy subject. So it happened organically. It's not like we said, and in fact, the season where we actually promised a certain amount of skits for the Kickstarter, I feel like one of those skits was forced and wasn't great, because like it's either there or it's not, you know. I mean, I think we could do a funny skit per week for about any show we did, but that would have to be our full-time job.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to doing skits in the future. It just has to kind of come up. It's something you can't really force.
Right. It's like, you know,
I mean, you could force it, but it takes a lot of time and effort to force it.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah, it's really it's tough because it's not our lane either. Like if we were a comedy podcast, then we would just lean right into that, but if we were a super serious stuffy podcast, then we wouldn't swear or talk about dick so much and do skits. So we try to kind of like swerve. We try to like we just swerve in and out of lanes. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Hilger 89. Which actor do you think best embodied their character? Oh boy. Bryan Cranston as Walter White, Jon Hamm as Don Draper, or Justin Theroux as Kevin Garvey Jr. So, and it's for a bonus, pick one character and recast them. Every time I get asked this question, I think the defining thing is who could do the other's job. Like, Bryan Cranston, could he be Don Draper?
No, I think this question is asking exactly the opposite.
Why?
Like, who is most like their character? Who embodies their character the most?
Oh, well, I mean, that's like a three-way tie.
I mean, I feel like it's probably Jon Hamm is the closest, but
you think Jon Hamm is like Don Draper in real life? Because in real life, he seems kind of like a goofball.
Yeah, he does. But, I mean, Bryan Cranston is a complete goofball. Like, he's nothing like Walter White.
True, but Walter White was goofy in a way that Jon Hamm really very rarely was. Like Don Draper was never the butt of a joke, was he?
I guess not.
I'm not saying he'd never gotten ridiculous situations or besmirched himself, because shit, that was half the show. But I'm talking about like literally a butt of the joke. Whereas Walter White is constantly the butt of the jokes, especially in early going. I mean,
who was the third one? I don't even remember.
Justin Theroux is Kevin Garvey Jr. Because I was going to go with like I think Jon Hamm could do a bang up Kevin Garvey Jr. and I think Justin Theroux could do a bang up Don Draper. I don't think Bryan Cranston could do either of those roles.
Could either of them do Walter White?
That's a great question. I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't like the exact same way. No, I don't think so. Because like Bryan Cranston has that everyman dad quality, and he's also, you know, not afraid to get into tidy whities. Like Justin Theroux and Jon Hamm would have to have specially made tidy whities to like wrap their unit around, you know, just not to distract people. To pick one character and recast them.
Recast a character.
Man, I don't think you could find better. I don't think it's possible. I don't think you could cast better. You might be able to get as good, but I don't think you could cast better. And that's actually for all of these shows. You'd have to get out into like tertiary characters before I'd be like, yeah, there's some dude that just aren't just way better, or some lady's way better at this role than who they cast. That's one of the hallmarks of those shows, is they were impeccably cast. So tough one. Although Freddie says Michael Keaton, that you could, as anybody, you could Michael. That's an excellent point. I think Michael Keaton could absolutely be Bryan Cranston as Walter White. I really do.
Potentially, yeah.
I could see that. He might be able to pull off Kevin Garvey Jr. I don't think he can pull off as suave. Like even at the, at the height of Michael Keaton's powers, which is what, like, is it the Fabulous Baker Boys? Is that the one I'm thinking about? He's in a gangster comedy. I'm trying to think of the most suave I've ever seen him. That's not it. It's something else.
It's Batman. Batman, when he plays Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I didn't think he was that suave, though.
I know. Well, that tells me he couldn't do it.
Like, I felt like the thing is, like, didn't we even talk about that? Is like
Bruce Wayne is supposed to be Don Draper.
Yeah, and he always looked cheap in a tux. I thought.
Yeah.
In Batman, that was the problem. Maybe it's the '90s hair. I don't know.
Is it the man or is it the tux?
You know, they say the clothes make the man, so I'm gonna blame the tux because Michael Keaton is. Yeah, I don't know. Michael Keaton is a little bit more of too much of an everyman. He's not got that suave thing that Don Draper has. I think he could play. Like I said, I think he could play wounded, but still charming.
You know who I would like to see as Walter White?
Who?
Hugh Laurie. I would like to see Hugh Laurie try and pull that off because I think he might be able to do it just as well as Bryan
He's got
Cranston.
too much personal dignity.
But he can.
Which is funny because I don't think Bryan Cranston doesn't have personal dignity.
Just like a tiny ounce too much.
I don't think he doesn't have personal dignity. He just has this rare ability to take it off like a suit.
Yeah.
And like put on the rack and be defaced and yet still
he's
be
a
respected.
chameleon.
And yeah.
He seems like he could do anything.
But that's not bad. That's not bad. Hugh Laurie is not bad. Your turn, man.
Luke Kelly. Hey guys, dropped out of The Walking Dead after a mid-season finale of season 7. Is it worth persevering to finish it off and hear the rest of the podcast? I want to check out your wrap-up cast, but assume it's spoiler-filled.
Well, I mean, yeah, but do you care?
Right,
I mean, really.
Like that's the thing. If you're not going to watch the next season and a half that you have to get through to fully appreciate the wrap-up cast, then why do you care if that season and a half is spoiled?
Yeah, because the thing is like the show doesn't get better.
No.
It continues to
worse.
slowly and sometimes steeply. Like the last 2 seasons were probably the only season where there's more bad episodes than good. Mm-hmm. In fact, in season 8, I think there's maybe 1 episode that I would describe, maybe 2 episodes I describe as decent out of 16, and the majority of them were just trash, like the worst. And they do violence to what I think is the true story of that they were trying to tell way back when of The Walking Dead. So yeah, you're going to get the shit spoiled out of you, but
if you never intend on watching it anyway, who cares?
Yeah, it's spoiler, like it's or just, you know, a lot of people listen to the podcast in sequence and, you know, we're able to hang with the story such as it is, because holy shit, there's 1 or 2 advancements in plot in any 16 episode season. And they're usually confined in like the, you know, they're usually confined in like the season finale or the season premieres. But yeah, I mean, if you're that big a spoiler phobe, I would say you probably should stay away. But honestly, if you're never going to watch those next 24 episodes, then fuck it, yeah, listen to it.
Yeah.
Most of it is honestly before season 6 stuff, because season 7 and 8, other than the Guy Ferrari hilariousness, we pretty much checked out. I mean, it was like that's the reason I was persuaded to stop, because I realized I've essentially recorded the last 16 podcasts were the same as the first 16. There's minor details changed, but the same complaints over and over and over again. So like, why am I doing this? It's making me a worse podcaster. Nagastine, are you guys fans of barbecue? If so, what's your favorite style? Carolina, Memphis, Kansas City, or Texas? My personal preference is Kansas City. If you're doing a 2-meat combo, what meats you picking?
I couldn't tell you the difference, honestly.
Really?
I don't know Texas from Memphis, honestly, when it comes to barbecue.
All right. I'm a Kansas City guy, too, because I like my barbecue sauce sweet and tangy. But I also like the Carolina kind of like mustardy, vinegary flavor. And that's I had this Manhattan project where I was trying to make my own barbecue sauce, and the goal was to wed those 2 styles. And I just got bored making minor, like to do that, you have to like go to the lab and like change things minutely and track and like do it scientifically if you're really going to create it. And I just like, I made like 2 or 3 variations, because what happened is I make this barbecue, this sriracha based barbecue, and a little bit of the rub had dripped in with a little bit of the basting sauce, and I kind of tasted. I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing. So I started like just playing with deliberately mixing those things and adding some vinegar base and reducing it and doing all this different stuff, and I talked to a couple of my other, because I have 2 friends that are like serious in the barbecue, big beard Josh and Tony Death, and I just like, I just got bored. Like, and I started swinging for the fences. Like, I'm gonna radically alter to try to see if I can push the, and it just went to shit. So like, I didn't have the patience for it. But I do think that's something you could do. Kansas City and I couldn't tell you the difference between Memphis and Texas, except for I think they're both more rub-based barbecue than like sauce-based barbecue. But I don't know.
Dry barbecue.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
What's your favorite barbecue meats?
Pulled pork.
Really? Because I find that I can make a really good pulled pork at home. And honestly, I make pretty good ribs at home. So I always go for brisket because that's the thing. I could probably make a good brisket. I just never tried.
Brisket's pretty damn good, yeah.
Yeah, and I like, because I get a pretty, you know, I make barbecue ribs 3-4 times a year, and I make pulled pork about the same. So like when I go to eat out, it's like, what can I do what can I get here that I don't get at home? And brisket's almost always the answer. So like a brisket. Like open-faced brisket sandwich, like a brisket sandwich, whatever, man. That stuff.
Especially the
good.
shit that cooks for like 48 hours or whatever. Like, you just can't reasonably do that at home.
All right, back to you.
Okay, BJ Whitkoff writes in with a link to an article with 20 real islands for sale right now.
Holy shit. What's the bottom dollar?
Bottom dollar. I had to scroll through 21 slides on this fucking MSN.com site. To find the bottom dollar for 68 grand, you can get.
Is it an EPA super site? It's got like lead and uranium. And...
No, it's off the coast of Nova Scotia. It's called Big Tancook Island. Rugged and cold, but stunningly beautiful, and it looks stunningly beautiful. It has. I'm certain this can't be like a picture of the actual thing. 11.6 acres. It can be compared to what Martha's Vineyard looked like 150 years ago.
Yeah, but the environment, what is the cold? So
developed and divisible.
What is the warmest it gets in the summer?
I don't fucking know. They say it's rugged and cold, so probably like 50 degrees is my guess.
With temperatures ranging between 0 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit throughout the year.
80? Oh, fuck yeah.
Average temperature varies. I mean, that's the thing. If
it's
it
like
gets up
one
to
day
80, that's nice.
Solstice.
That's nice. Temperature gets down to 0 to 32. I can make this work.
68 grand is all it takes. Bald Move could buy this island.
Bald Move
like
could buy this. If
2
we
years.
pooled our money together, we might be able to do it right now.
Now?
Yeah, if we took everything in a Bald Move banking account, everything that I know I have in my savings account, and everything I suspect you have in yours.
Okay. Yeah, if you're willing to cash out your 401k for this island.
No. I'm not,
just savings?
Just savings and what's in Bald Move's account. I think we could
Yikes.
we could do that. Maybe
we could just buy a Tesla for Bald Move. Company car.
I've seen this year's Silicon Valley. I know I can't imagine time sharing something like that.
Holy shit! 68 grand for an island.
Yeah, for 11 acres.
A developed island.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, developed and divisible.
What does that mean? Does that have power?
I don't know exactly. That's all it says. I'd have to
because that's the
really
thing. In
go
northern
digging.
latitudes, you start worrying about like, is solar reliable? Because you don't get that much sun, especially in the times of year where you really need it. So having it on the grid would be a big plus. There's no way. There's no way there's an island on the grid for 68
Says it's just 6 miles from the Chester Yacht Club, so maybe.
Interesting. Does it have a road that goes to it, or it's probably just boat only?
I see a picture of a road, but I don't.
I don't see a picture. Okay.
I do see a picture of a road, but I don't.
Seriously?
It's like all dirt road, and I don't know that it's actually representative of what you get. Because I see a bunch of boats, which I assume is the Chester Yacht Club, and
interesting.
This must be. I don't know. I think it's worth looking into. Though,
I mean, it is fun to match because like I used to really love looking at those missile silos.
Yeah.
Like, and thinking about, man, what would be so cool to have like a James Bond villain lair in here, and like get the blast doors to open so you can fucking have a glass dome so you can just oh god,
more expensive than an island.
Billions are wasted on the billionaires apparently because like
all they're doing is going to space.
Yeah, they're building offshore colonies armed by mercenaries for when this whole thing collapses into a shit show and they have to watch the world burn while they live in comfort, but. Anyway,
there are other seemingly much nicer islands that cost millions of dollars.
Oh, sure. Sure. Is there like a sweet spot? Like, what do you think the sweet spot is?
It doesn't seem like it. Like this.
Like it's like 68,000 and then a million.
Well, 68 and then 151. It jumps pretty significantly.
What do you get for that?
And then 169. That's not bad. It's like the price of a house. You get Northern Ontario, Canada. To the northeast of Upper
the
Michigan.
Midwest of Canada. Can't escape the Midwest no matter what. And that's in a lake, right?
Oh,
that's not ocean.
2 basic cabins. Yeah. 2 basic cabins and a stove and refrigerator that run on propane.
Hey.
1.31 acre property comes with 4 aluminum boats and a sturdy dock.
You'd need that to ram your aluminum boats into. All right, that sounds. I'd rather go the undeveloped or the slightly developed Nova Scotia for 11 acres. 1 acre.
Can I interest you in Southeast Alaska? This is what I was talking about last week. They're all
right.
In, like
it's going to get in the Arctic.
Cold,
So you're starting to get in the Arctic Circle. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know that, and that's the thing. 10 years ago, we looked at this, and it wasn't that case. I feel like there's been rich fuckers buying up all the good islands.
All right, let's find. Here we go. Off the coast of Costa Rica.
Wow.
Just 790,000. 32 acres.
Damn. Now we're talking.
Developed and completely self-sufficient. It comes with its own well and off-the-grid energy thanks to solar power infrastructure.
Yeah, let's buy it, Jim. Let's buy it. Let's get matching ice cream suits, safari suits, and just welcome to
suits.
Bald Island. And this is a bunch
That'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah, we have Bryan Cranston running naked in a cage eating goats. So it's just
how would we get television?
We'd steal the DNA from John. Like they wouldn't. That be, yeah, that's the ball. We should do this. Okay, here's the bonus
John
quip.
Hammond's.
Bonus quip.
Mm-hmm.
Bald Park. We have secretly stolen the DNA from John Hamm, Thoreau, the fucking Cranston, Nora, Carrie Coon. Now, so we can perfectly duplicate their adult bodies.
Okay.
But you can't. There's no way. We don't have the brain dump technology.
Right.
So they're essentially just vegetables.
So you come to this island to visit, and we have
it's
like
a blank slate.
Staff of
Right.
of all the famous actors from television shows that you love.
Right. But they just sit there in chairs and drool.
No, they don't drool. They're human beings. They could they're cooks, they're maids, they're like all the staff of the facility.
See, I'm thinking they come out of the vat and they have a mind of an infant, and then it's going to take okay.
We'll teach them. We'll teach one, and then we'll have that one teach the others.
So
we'll get an assembly line of learning going.
Who do you teach first, Hamm, Thoreau, or Cranston? Who's got the best bulk perception?
I feel like I would want a natural, charismatic leader. Or maybe not. Maybe you don't want to teach the leader too much. The natural, charismatic leader.
Yeah, I've seen Jurassic
Park. They might take over the island.
Yeah,
Life finds a way to fucking take over Bald Island.
Right. You need an uncharismatic leader.
Yeah, so Bryan
where
Cranston's...
we steal Paul Giamatti's DNA. Nobody's following Paul Giamatti's ad. Yeah, I get it. I haven't seen the Sam Adams. Maybe he or John Adams. I haven't seen that HBO, so maybe he's like a Ben Franklin type or a Kissinger, where he's just like, you look at the guy and he looks like a warthog, but he is like fucking hip deep in the ladies, and he's all up in everyone's diplomatics and circles, and he's hypnotizing world leaders. Who knows?
We steal Michael Cera's DNA.
We definitely need Jeff Goldblum in there somewhere.
The trainer.
We definitely need Jeff Goldblum in all black leather.
We need BD Wong. We need the guy who plays John Hammond, whose name I don't know.
He's dead.
Yeah, we can find his DNA though.
It's true.
There's some DNA down there.
We can dig, unless he's been cremated. We can dig him up.
Yeah.
It's just like, and that would be part of the Ghoulish Park attraction, where you're going through the ride. It's like, how did we get all these celebrities? Well, it's a legal loophole called grave robbing. It's illegal in the United States, but it's okay in Costa Rica. That's how we get by.
Oh, you get Lee. You get Lee in there to teach people. You get.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dress him up as a stable boy. Give him a lollipop. Nobody follows him.
Hell no.
Yeah, they'll learn English from him, but they're not going to follow him. Okay. Good quip. Good quip. Turner Vendetta. Happy Star Wars gays.
Star Wars gays.
Happy Star Wars gays.
Wow, I'm learning things about myself.
May the 4th is fabulous, and I sincerely do wish you a happy Star Wars gays. For everybody else, it's Happy Star Wars Day. We can all celebrate it. It's you know, it's not a hetero thing. It's becoming less and less straight white hetero the whole time. In a later Westworld podcast, you mentioned reading the book *Sapiens*. Speaking of homos.
Oh my God.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. How can I get a part?
You pick that fruit up off the ground.
I know. I mean, like,
so
I feel like our gay fans would be mad if I didn't.
That's
do
fair.
It. And if so, I fucked up. I fuck up all the time. Were you inspired by Alt-Shift-X's audio video promo for Westworld? I was. My copy just arrived. What are you thinking so far? Are you finished? Yes, I was. And that was the slickest goddamn Audible placement. Like, Alt-Shift-X is doing these Westworld Explained videos the same way he does, like, with Game of Thrones, with all the little slides that he It's such a fucking cool... If you haven't tried Alt-Shift-X and you're a Game of Thrones or Westworld fan, you should check him out. He's on YouTube. Mm-hmm. But he slipped in this goddamn Audible ad so slick that he was 30 seconds into it, and I just thought he was quoting a scholarly source for it because it tied into the material so well. And I'm like, well, shit, I'm going to have to buy this book now. And I got it, and it's like... I'm reading this thing like a spy thriller. It's keeping me up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning every night, blowing my mind with new insights about our species and different like mental experiments and facts about hominids and like I guess the later half of the book, which I haven't quite gotten into, he turns it into speculating about like what a Homo superior would look like what is the next evolution of humanity, like what do we look like 10,000, 100,000, a million years into the future with AI and all this other stuff. Pretty heady stuff. It's fascinating. It's called *Sapiens*, and I guess maybe he had a follow-up book because there's some people have been emailing me about this that like digs deeper into that like future type of material. So yeah, but yeah, I did get it off Alt-Shift-X. I'm a huge fan. Jim.
Ted K. Let's talk a little bit about Westworld. Apparently, Nolan and Joy will be taking another long break between season 2 and 3 of Westworld, so season 3 will probably be in 2020. It's only been 2 episodes, but do you feel these long breaks are justified? Could these long breaks hurt Westworld or Bald Move?
I mean,
potentially.
It is. So I was going back and forth with Rob over at Libsyn because, you know, I think we've mentioned this on lunch before that like our traffic on Westworld is way off. Like we've never had a podcast come back lower than the end of last season. And this is the first one that did it. Like we are like 50% lower than we were at the height of last season. And I also know that in the middle of last year, they redid how they calculated stats because I guess all the different there's a ISO standard of how to calculate downloads and listens, and it was different if you got your stats from Blueberry or you know Twit Stitcher or what else. And there's all these competing standards and it's frustrating advertisers, so they came up with like one unified thing and they applied it, and some of our pods went like down 10-15%, but you know whoop-de-doo, it's not a big deal. This is the first one, it's like 50%. And I asked him, he goes, podcasts that had unusually large episodes, like 2+ hours, are disproportionately affected versus smaller. So I'm guessing what he's saying is they must have took the total amount of bits transferred, assumed an average podcast length, and then did math, which seems like a horseshit way to calculate it.
I bet what happened is the people who stream episodes were hitting the podcast in multiple chunks.
Oh, really?
And so, like, you know, every 15 minutes or something, they'd hit another download point. And so they were registering all those, I think, as full downloads or full listens.
Right.
Whereas now they look at that and they say, okay, how far into the cast did they make it? And
right.
Is this another hit on the same file from the same person and that kind of thing?
Because like a lot of the thing that was unfortunate is like from the email load, I could tell that like I didn't feel like there was less people listening, and with the club sales we were making, it felt like you know, it's significant. So, but these numbers, and this is where it hurts, is the advertising, because we sold at pretty high percentage of last year's traffic, and we're not going to even get probably the halfway point on that stuff, at least in the first few episodes. So, but that's fine because we don't really calculate ads in our, that's more of like windfalls to us. Like that's like the bone, we never know if we're going to get them or not, so we don't count and build them into our budget. So everything's fine. It's just a bummer that And it's kind of like if we were measuring the house temperature in Fahrenheit and we switch to Celsius, it doesn't really matter except for advertising because we pay a CPM and our CPMs are down. So as far as Westworld being away, I don't know. I mean, the other interesting thing is this is the first high profile, like really talked about drama that its own internal statistics seem unchanged from last year. Like I'm used to seeing prestige dramas double their audience in the off season because everybody gets HBO Go and watches it or buys it on Amazon and all the friends are talking about it and all that. Like and some things like Game of Thrones like triple and quadruple between seasons. Westworld's pretty much stayed at 2 million the whole time. And I wonder if being off the air for almost 2 years is a little bit of that.
Could be.
Plus, I don't think it's for everybody either.
It's not, certainly. But I think
it's a lot more polarizing than the Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah. And more difficult to watch.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But that kind of leads me into my point of whether it's justified or not. I think this is a very hard show to construct.
It's unjustified, some would say.
So it's... I think it is justified for a show that is this... dependent on the way in which it unfolds the story.
Yeah, it's very mechanically
to
sensitive.
take that extra time. Yeah, because if they don't do that just right, then it can all fall apart.
Right.
And it can just become ludicrous.
I'd much rather them take their time and really work through that stuff than have to hit okay, it's a year later, where the fuck is my Westworld?
Especially with the concepts that they're dealing with.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't your typical show where, we're dealing with, like, drama caused by inter-family relationships or something. No, we're talking about the fucking creation of a new species here, like the evolution of humankind. These are very difficult topics to show on a screen. So, like, yeah, I think it's justified that they're taking this time.
Justified. Adsky says, happy Friday, guys.
Yeah.
Doing some extras work for Game of Thrones here in Northern Ireland.
What?
Hashtag humble brag.
Can you sneak out any screenshots? Can we get some?
I'm actively avoiding it all. It's the hilarious part.
I'm kidding.
And yesterday, my role required me to cut off the head of one Jon Snow. My role required me to shave off my bald move style beard. After seeing my pale, shaven chin for the first time in over 4 years, I felt less masculine and not myself.
So we know that he's not a wildling. Or
must be
free folk,
or maybe the wildlings, the White Walkers bring a plague of lice, and they just have to be shaved from head to toe.
Maybe.
My question to you guys: what does it mean to be masculine in this day and age? What things do you guys have or do that make you feel manly? And he pledges to totally grow out a Kratos-style beard after this. That's an excellent question, Adsky.
I don't know.
This is a question I could probably talk to about for like 20 minutes. What does masculine mean today? And that's something that I actually find a challenge because, I try to have very high-minded, broad-minded ideals, but internally I very strongly identify with traditionally, stereotypically masculine concepts. I take pride in my physical toughness and my physical strength and a certain amount of stoicism and independence and, concepts like honor and courage. But I think there's the problem is like by saying that's a masculine trait. Like
I wanted to say like, oh, my responsibility, and I'm like, well, that's not masculine.
Right.
That's just everyone.
Like, am I going to say that like what do I say to Tammy Duckworth, Senator Tammy Duckworth, who got her legs blown off piloting an attack a chopper in Afghanistan, then got custom-made fake legs and re-enlisted so she could keep doing it, like. That, I mean, talking about valor or courage, like a manly, and that's the thing. I start sounding like those fucking, like Greek writers would talk about, like some savage tribe is led by a female, or talk about Cleopatra and like her in her understanding and wit, she was manly, and like the fuck. So, but do you see that's the thing? Like, I grew up in a very conservative culture. I've manifested and I take pride in these qualities myself, and it's a constant kind of like war with myself to like remind myself that like, my possession of a penis and a Y chromosome does not give me exclusive domain of these qualities. Just like nurturing, caring, loving is not exclusively feminine traits. And I guess an interesting question is like, when were these dichotomies in humans always? Like, you know, back into the Sapiens, we're talking about the Sapiens book, back into like Cro-Magnon days, because I feel like that, you know, it's very unlikely if you're talking about like look at like chimpanzees today, you know, the alphas of the pack do take their turns grooming, and you know, they have their I just don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I can only assume that like masculine qualities are things that are defined by your physical form,
right?
Being a male, like strength is probably one, right? Like I don't think many people would argue that there are the strongest women are stronger than the strongest men. Like that's just not how our bodies are set up. So like, but all of those other things, like, and I think they're more societally defined. Like back hundreds of thousands of years ago when it was like hunter-gatherer days and men did most of the hunting or whatever. It's like, that wasn't because they were necessarily like better at it because they were male.
Right.
It's just that's what the society was like at the time. And now societal rules are kind of up in the air, and everything's
in a
changing.
day and age where we've got machine guns, tanks, and aircraft that can be operated proficiently by females, what does it even mean to be strong?
Yeah.
Stronger. You know, there's a lot of MMA champion women that could kick, I'm confident could kick my ass with superior technique and conditioning. So it's like, I think, and the thing that's like, especially about the beard, like what you're seeing when you look at your, it's like, I like to think, because I've had that happen to me just recently, where I had a beard fiasco and I shaved, and looking in the mirror was a stranger looking back at me, because I associate my clean shaven face with my Jehovah's Witness face. And like, this is an opportunity for us, I think, if you feel that dysphoria, that mismatch between what you see in the mirror and how you feel inside, is a way to cultivate empathy for like transgendered people.
Sure.
Because, you know, that's what they're trying to fix. They're trying to fix that disconnect between how they feel about themselves and how they present to the world. And like how traumatic it would be to like be years into like hormone replacement therapy, and then because you can't afford it, to be shut off from that, you know, and now you see yourself regressing back. So I guess, what does it mean to be a man nowadays? The cool thing is, it's like, it can mean whatever you want it to fucking mean. And you know, it's a good opportunity for us to kind of have empathy for people who are in other situations than ourselves. How about that?
Should I go with an Avengers tweet?
Yes. We've avenged beards. Now let's take on the Avengers.
Okay. I was just reading it for spoilers. Screening for spoilers. John Matthew says there was a scene in the Avenger trailer that was not in the movie. Should trailers put fake scenes in their trailers to throw people off?
Absolutely.
I would enjoy knowing some scenes in a trailer might not be real. Example. Let's not go with the example.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think it's, I, as a person that's currently hating the trends of oversharing on trailers, I think anytime, like, especially a lot of comedies do that, a lot of animated films do this, like stuff that is made specifically for the trailers, or I think that's a great idea because it gives you the flavor of the film without giving away the film itself.
Yeah, so I like what they're doing with like Deadpool, where they're doing like little
whole alternative universes forming.
Right. What I think is a risky proposition is putting in scenes that are meant to specifically meant to mislead people.
Right.
Like if you change a story beat entirely in order to say, hey, this movie is about this thing, but in actuality it's about a very different thing, I think that has the potential to backfire in your face.
Right.
Because a lot of people will go in thinking, I'm sitting down for this kind of movie, and then they're not.
Yeah.
And they won't be prepared for that. But yeah, I mean, I think trailers' purpose is to get people excited about a movie, right?
Yes.
And I feel that when you give away so much of your movie that I feel like I've seen the best parts of your movie.
I got the cliff notes in 3 minutes.
Yeah, that does exactly the opposite. Whereas you don't even really have to, like the Deadpool stuff is, I'm not excited about the fucking story.
Right.
I'm excited that these people can write really funny jokes.
Yeah.
Original jokes. And
they're smart deconstructing the genre.
Yeah, do it in a way that entertains me, and I have faith that they will carry that into the movie that they're making.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. So there's a lot of different ways to do trailers. I don't know that fake scenes is necessarily what I want, but some people do.
I mean, it's something I think that they I think that it's something they need to experiment with, because, or they can just start doing less revealing. I don't know. This does feel like it's a pendulum swing and keeps like people, like people make trailers and they're so desperate to get people, they give away the goods and it pisses off the creators and it pisses off the audience, and then it goes and you start like one of the best trailers of all time is the fucking first Matrix trailer. Like,
I don't remember that.
Well, I mean, just think they showed like this futuristic shit and this weird kung fu and there's a cyber thriller, and it was like you had no fucking clue what was going on, even though they showed you so much of the structure of the movie, because they're like, how can these parts fit together? What is the Matrix? What is the Matrix? What is Matrix.com? Like,
it was the intrigue of that, right?
Yeah, like they showed a lot without, but the way they cut it and the way, now they were blessed with having a movie that's essentially 3 movies shoved up each other's ass. And like this pop culture stew, but like that's the kind of trailer. That's why I really like that the Cure for Wellness trailer too. I had no idea that movie's going to be a mediocre piece of shit. But I almost didn't even know what it was about. It just sold me on the mystery and the intrigue, and I thought The Shape of Water was I haven't seen that movie yet. Thought it was a really good trailer. The Avengers in retrospect is a pretty good trailer. I saw like all of those, and I didn't really know how all those pieces are going to fit together and how they're going to handle all the teams and like all that stuff. So I don't know. But I've definitely seen, like, I feel like there's been a couple, especially Marvel, like the Hulk. I feel like they spoiled the 3 signature moments of that film. That would have I felt like the Guardians of the Galaxy, honestly, they should have resisted the impulse to show off those 10 seconds of what's his face, the father of Chris Pratt, Snake Plissken. I feel like the example this fucker doesn't give a shit about is the new
Harry Potter.
No, ABBA, the ABBA musical, Mamma Mia 2. Yeah. They give away what I imagine is the climax where it's. Maybe like a cameo or a fun little cameo or a surprise, and I don't understand why they do it, because like you see a Mamma Mia 2 trailer and your reaction is shit, I am there already, or your reaction is the fuck is this? Like, Cher stepping into the frame in the last seconds of the trailer is not going to change your mind. You're only fucking it up for the fans of Mamma Mia. You're only spoiling the surprise. It's like weirdly like if you threw a surprise party for someone and you didn't tell anyone what the surprise, or the surprise meant no except for the person who's attending, and you tell them I mean, I don't know. It's fucking weird. I hate modern trailer culture. This is a great question. Noel from Dallas, Texas. You're both single and in your prime dating lives. You both eye the same young lady at a bar. Who gets the girl?
It depends on her preferences.
That's true.
Like
do you as a young lady, did you watch Bram Stoker's Dracula and feel a little tingle between your legs when Beast Mode Dracula was fucking that girl in the graveyard? You might go with me. If you're more like, I think Johnny Depp is a very handsome and cultured and well manicured man, you might go with Jim. Like, it's
sure.
And I gotta say that looking back, I don't feel like we have remotely the same preferences in women either. I'm not saying you're dating Hideous Beast or anything. I'm just saying, like, sure. Like if I saw, like, I'm thinking of like your last 5 girlfriends. If they're at the bar and we're both like, I'd be like, you know what, dude, I'm gonna let you have this. This means, like, that seems patronizing. I would be like, yeah, this means more to Jim than me, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I
don't know. Like I said, we probably have very different styles when it comes to picking up the ladies.
Yes.
And I imagine it would very much depend on the lady.
Yes. There you go. Your turn, man.
Jesse Atchison asks thoughts on integration of the Boy Scouts. Did something happen recently?
It's now the Scouts. There's Girl and Boy Scouts.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I mean, that goes back to our
cool.
traditional definition of masculinity. Isn't it kind of ridiculous that you had a separate but equal branch of this pseudo junior military academy?
I mean, other than showing your penis badge, yeah. I mean, there's an equal showing your vagina badge too.
Right.
So
right.
I would just urge the kids to avoid that class, that particular badge.
Yeah.
Because the counselors are,
because like I said,
don't
yeah,
always have your best interest in heart.
You're right. I wouldn't want young men or women showing their P's or V's to
no
any Scoutmasters.
No,
I mean just the name Scoutmaster. You're halfway to a child sex ring right there. Just the
sure
name.
Are.
You're like you got your toe over the line. Jesus. But no, I think it's great.
Yeah.
Nervous Rhino. Just relax, man. It's gonna be okay. With a surge of important female characters on current TV, do you either think it's a little too much importance is being placed on casting based on physical attractiveness, or do you think it's balanced compared to men? Well, that's a good question.
What was the beginning of this?
So, with a surge of important female characters, as females are getting more representation in Hollywood and in plots, do you think there's too much emphasis being placed on their looks in casting, or do you think it's balanced compared to men? That's because what we're getting at.
I mean, they cast a lot of damn beautiful men too. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Everybody in Hollywood just has a base level of attractiveness that is higher than you will see walking down the street.
Because these are essentially vessels for our hopes, dreams, and desires. Yeah. And they're almost like Olympian gods that, like, even when they're supposed to be ugly, they're still, if we're being honest, a 7 or 8, you know.
Except for Paul Giamatti, who is
the
easily a Vegas
thing is, because here's the thing. What we're really getting at is one of the privileges, if we're talking about terms and you're talking about social justice, is attractiveness. Like, it's damn near the best one to have. Like, you can argue money or power, but attractiveness is the easy way, the fast lane to get those things.
The gateway drug.
And I can think of women that I think are average or below average or older that are very well-respected careers, but it's almost an insult to name them. Just like Paul Giamatti, us going on and on about him. The only way, honestly, the only way we can get away with this is because I'm a chubby, hairy, funny-looking dude myself. If we were both like Orlando Bloom and Johnny Depp, we would be punching fucking down.
I would love to hear a conversation between those two about Paul Giamatti. I would fucking love it.
Beautiful People podcast where they just talk shit about uggos.
Depp and Orlando podcast.
Yeah.
But I do think historically it has been more of a problem with women.
Sure. Like, and the fact that, like,
women being cast purely for their physical features.
Sean Connery getting Sexiest Man Alive when he's like 69 and liver spots on his fucking forehead, and like could a woman in similar shape, you know, I
bet. Yeah, I'm thinking of a certain House of Cards star who probably could.
At 69, we'll see.
We'll see. I mean,
we'll see. Like Helen Mirren is still pretty, but I mean, it's like, I mean, you can't even have this conversation without going down the road of objectifying, because that's what we're talking about, physical attractiveness.
Well, I mean, there are objective facts here that some people are just more attractive than others.
Yeah, and you start like
to talk about someone's physical appearance, I don't think it's always
and then you can always go down to like why, because is it men that are crowning Sean Connery Sexiest Man Alive? Because I remember my mom being very hot and bothered about a Red October era Sean Connery, even though he was at that time 30 years her senior. I don't know, like, is that related to the biological fact that women can't have children after their mid 40s, where men can father children essentially until their heart stops beating? Like, is this like a weird silverback kind of thing where men's if you see a powerful and wealthy older man, that there's other evolutionary baggage that causes them to appear more attractive, whereas women, you know, I mean, none of that's fair. Just like the attractive privilegedness itself. Man, I feel like I'm walking into multiple minefields this whole fucking podcast. And I just had a Twitter exchange with a black man who took exception with our characterization of the robot's plight in Westworld similar to slavery. And I'm like, man, I'm talking wading way out past my depth here.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting debate to have. I don't think anyone's going to be mad about having it. People might be angry about particular takes you have on it, but
yeah,
I don't know. But I'd say no, it's probably not balanced. It's not balanced. I would say just my gut, no. Like, is Hollywood in 2018 perfectly balanced, attractive-wise, man and female? Doubt it.
Yeah.
Doubt it. Because if it was, it would be like almost the only segment of society that is perfectly balanced. Your turn, man.
All right. Taquito says, how soon after watching Star Wars Episode 1 did you realize the prequels were in trouble? I was 6 at the time. How fucking old are you, dude? 10 years younger than me, like 20, 25. Okay. I was 6 at the time and didn't see it in theaters. Obviously, the hype was monumental.
Your parents,
was it a slow...
did they abuse you? They didn't take a 6-year-old to see Star Wars? What happened? Did they put cigarettes on your body? Like, should we retroactively call the protective services on them? Do they have grandchildren that they might similarly abuse? Like, this is a safe space, man. You can talk. You can talk to us.
Yeah. Why? That does seem weird. 6-year-old would be ripe for.
I don't know. Maybe we grew up in some weird religious cult.
Wars.
You grew up in some weird religious cult, loser.
Where you can't watch Star Wars. Even in religious cults, you can watch Star Wars.
Well,
even in the cults.
I have a very firm belief that the reason we're allowed to watch Star Wars is the same reason no one gives shit to the sisters for wanting engagement rings. Because if you said no Star Wars, like, droves of young men to be like, you know what? Fuck you. You can tell us we can't watch Smurfs. You can tell us we can't have sex when we're married, and we can't smoke or do drugs or alcohol, and you can fucking tell us we can't watch G.I. Joe, but Star Wars, go fuck yourself.
I think there was some negotiating, some wiggle room there.
Yeah.
Look, we
like
will
the 18-year-olds
at
Bethel. The 18-year-olds at Bethel staged to walk out unless the olds let them watch Star Wars. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
So yeah, was it a slow dissolution of your hope, or was it an immediate negative reaction? It took me a couple of
since I saw the movie like 6 times in the theater.
Yeah. I kept going in thinking,
we're trying to
this is awesome. It's new Star Wars.
Right. We're trying to dethrone Titanic too. That was an explicit fan goal, and yes. I fucking served my time in that army.
I did too.
I served 6 honorable viewings and was discharged, and I can wear that uniform with pride. You know, I was in full denial until after Attack of the Clones. And I remember watching Attack of the Clones because I was bought into, like, you know, George is building something. And then almost from the first moments of Attack of the Clones where they just yada-yada'd through the entire Clone Wars and just alluded to all this awesome development between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. I'm like, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. Because the climax of this movie is these friends, these brothers their betrayal, and I don't buy them. I don't buy them as best friends or any of that stuff. And then I got in the halfway point. I'm like, I'm not buying Anakin and Padme. Oh shit, that's the second most important thing to sell me. Holy shit! And I remember that actually. I was the one, I think, person in our fan group that walked out of Revenge of the Sith like, no, this is a piece of shit. Yeah, this is a much better film than the other two, but it's ultimately a failure. So, like, it took me until walking out of Attack of the Clones to realize the Phantom Menace was a complete pile of shit.
Yeah, it was pretty early on for me.
But it took me 32 years to figure out that Jesus didn't start ruling over Earth in 1914. So,
to be fair, their mythos is a lot better.
I'm slow on the uptake.
Yeah. No, it was after, like, repeated viewings in the theater, and the first time I saw it, it was like, well, I don't really like this Jar Jar character. Like, maybe I can overlook that. And I just kept watching it, and like every time he kept getting more and more annoying. I realized that, okay, actually the kid actor who's playing Anakin actually isn't that good, and like all the dialogue he's given is bad. And the more I saw it, the less I loved it. And coming out of that, seeing it, I want to say somewhere between 7 and 13 times, I realized it was a piece of shit. And I had zero faith in it being redeemed in the next 2 movies. And episode 2 obviously was a complete pile of shit. And then episode 3 was much better. And I was like, okay, all right, I'm happy I saw that movie, but I wish it would have been part of a better trilogy.
The only 2 people walking out of that trilogy with their head held high is Ian McDiarmid, Palpatine, and Ewan McGregor, who is still a great, fantastic young Obi-Wan Kenobi. Couldn't help his haircut in the first one, but like I to this day would get down for an Obi-Wan Kenobi solo style spinoff.
Did you get your solo tickets?
I did. Okay. I was about to tell you because like Deadpool's almost gone. Have you got your Deadpool tickets yet?
Got them all.
Yeah, I got mine sewn up a couple days ago. So
we're gonna see it 13 times in a row.
We're gonna see it. We're gonna make sure it takes over the Titanic, which is probably the 15th highest. Like I think Marvel and Star Wars have just destroyed the top 10 for all time.
James Cameron needs to come out. What about Avatar? Wasn't Avatar like fucking huge when it came out?
It was, but I don't know why. I remember really thinking, wow, this is the movie that proves that 3D has a future, and then it's gone away for 10 years, and now we're going to get 5 more or something, whether we...
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be force-fed to American culture every year. Avatar 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's like, I don't know, man. This might be the first time Cameron fucks up, but... and that's literally been the accusation for every single one of his films. This is the time Cameron has fucked up. He's taken $200 million.
That's true.
And he shit it away. He's taken $400 million into a giant take in Mexico, and he shit it away. He's taken these weird 3D cameras to the bottom of the ocean. He shit it away, and he's made billions. So, good track record.
If we do...
Or maybe he's due.
Hopefully when we do. But if we do another silent movies, Avatar is a perfect candidate for me because I've never seen it.
Oh, really?
And I don't know what it's about. I know there are blue people called Na'vi.
Oh my god!
I know nothing else.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
That would be a really good one.
I'd be curious to see if that holds up without dialogue.
In 3D, because I've never seen it non-3D. I went to see it twice in the movies because it was such an enthralling experience. It was like I'd do it again. I'd pay $15 to see Avatar in 3D right now because it's like riding a roller coaster ride.
When we open the Bald Theater.
There you go. Darwin Fishi. Asymmetric debates, such as messages on internet, not live interaction. Are they effective, and how do you feel about them? I find myself immediately getting frustrated when discussing political subjects asymmetrically, post by post, but I feel comfortable discussing them with people in a live way. Well, I mean, a big part of my deconversion was having those asymmetric debates and conversations with people on the internet, which I shouldn't have been having. If I had listened to Witness Dogma fully, I would never been on the internet having debates about Christian theology. However, I do think that like the environments where that made a difference were smaller, more intimate environments where there was a good mix of people and there was very good moderation and people weren't allowed to just vent and count coup and dogpile. And I'm not even I think Bald Move, I have very mixed feelings about the political threads on Bald Move because our audience is overwhelmingly liberal and I also firmly believe that a lot of the legitimate, I know I'm throwing a lot of loaded terms, but fuck it, I don't care. I think a lot of legitimate debate that's had in America is amongst the left. Like, I feel like the right side is largely debating things that most of the rest of the world has moved on in the late 70s and 80s, and yet these people are still denying the climate's changing, that people their individual autonomy should be respected in terms of, like, you know, how they're addressed in public and what, you know, fucking names they're called and whether they should be allowed to marry and have kids and whether trickle-down economic theory works. Like, that there's a lot of vigorous debate about economic things in the left, and even in that social justice warrior shit. Like, I feel like it's seen as monolithic, like you just can't say this shit and blah. But there's intense debates they had in like left and in academia about, you know, like even this, like did you see the girl that wore a Chinese style dress to her prom and it started out, or there's a lot of debate within the left about, like, look, you know, cultural appropriation is bad, but what is cultural appropriation, and context matters, and the people's feelings on the stuff matter, and all that. It's like, it's not everything is like taking a ceremonial headdress from a Native American and war crying over their fucking burial mounds. I don't know. That's, you love it or hate it. That's how I genuinely believe that. So it's this weird zombie debate that's keeping happening on, and it just pisses off the leftists that they have to have it yet again. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on this disconnected asymmetrical debate?
I do feel you. I think largely arguing on the internet is completely pointless, because there is no structure to it, and also, like, especially in, are you talking like a one-on-one?
Or, no, I mean, asymmetrical literally means, no, it means like you put a post and you might come back and there's 5 people agreeing with you, or there's 5 people disagreeing with you, and do you respond to them all? And
no, I don't think that's useful, honestly. I think it distracts you from, I just can't imagine a scenario in which someone's mind is changed in that way. Like, someone's going to jump in there and they're going to call you stupid, and they're going to throw out a bunch of reasons for their opinions that don't match up with yours.
May or may not be sourced in fact.
Yeah, it's just such a mess right now.
People are arguing such a facts. People are arguing value. Like it's one thing if we could agree to a set of facts and then we're arguing values. Right. You know, that is something that is but when we're actually arguing over the facts, it's really fucked, and I don't know how it's going to be unfucked because we're entering an age where you can't even trust video and audio evidence.
I mean, that's not debate. That's not debate in that format. That is argument. Like arguing with somebody.
Yes.
That is not debate. Debate has a structure to it.
Right.
And it has a structure intentionally so, like so that you can actually make a point.
Yes.
And essentially force somebody to respond to that point.
Yes. Or admit they have no response. And cede.
Right. Or yeah, try
you can come back later.
Topic,
you can come back later, but you can't just be like, no, you're stupid, and you know, well, he's got a point. How do you respond to you being fucking stupid? Like,
right. Or like if he says, well, that's a non-issue. What I want to talk about is this. The moderator can say, no. Answer that question. I'd really like to hear the answer to that question.
Right.
You know, the moderator is there to keep the arguments coherent, and that doesn't exist on the internet. Doesn't exist in these types of arguments. So no, I don't think there's a lot of room for that.
Right.
Or use for it. I mean, there's tons of room for it.
Right. I think it's your turn.
Takito says, how should I invest for retirement? Key information here. He's retiring in 2058. I'm not even gonna be alive in 2058, I don't think.
What is that?
How many years 40 is that?
years?
40 years from now? Yeah.
I expect to be alive.
I might be. I might be barely clinging. I might be on the respirators, the life support. I might have a bionic brain by then. Who knows? He says, will global banking, he wants us to reach into our crystal balls here and pull out a solution. Will global banking systems collapse? I got antsy after 2008. Mutual funds don't look as stable as they once were. Should I hoard tangible goods like water, MREs, etc.? Help me prepare my doomsday shelter.
Here's the thing. Everyone thinks they're going to be their own little fucking warlord when the war breaks down, or the world breaks down. And some people are right, but for everyone, it's like the NBA. Like, you're not going to have the most guns. You're not going to be the biggest or strongest. How much military experience do you have? How much logistical experience do you have?
Yeah.
If you don't even have thought about those questions, and stop. Put your money in a mutual fund account and a 401 or a Roth.
That's the thing, yeah.
And just let it ride. And because if the world melts down, we're all fucked, and we're going to be fucked for generations. And it's going to be back to hard Scrabble, hand-to-mouth existence, and it's going to suck.
And none of that retirement money you've saved is going to matter.
Right.
And you can't predict things like this.
Right.
I mean, I can't tell you what you should do. I can tell you what I do.
Yeah.
What I've been doing is I essentially put as much as I can into index funds. Because the reason I think that's smart is because the market has an incentive to grow itself and an incentive to do better. Like when you put your money into the stock market as a whole, you're betting that business people want to make money, essentially. So like that's a pretty good bet. Whereas like you try and put it into a single company and maybe you hit the jackpot, maybe you don't. But if you look at like the people who've been doing this professionally for years and years, there are so few of them who ever outperform an index fund. They might over like the course of a single year, but over the course of 10 to 40 years, no way.
So yeah, I mean, just like I said, if you don't know anything about, I mean, I think it's a great. You talk about water and MREs, like it's not a bad idea to have like a month supply, because there could be a localized disaster, like a drought or a tornado or a flood or some kind of civil unrest, something like, and you would be like, this is where personally I'm conservative. I would like to be able to, with my family, to say it's going to be fine. We got water, we got food. Maybe we can share with the neighbors. You know, we're not going to be hitting the streets on night one like goddamn raccoons. Going through trash. But the reality is I can probably live I've gotten to 41 years on this planet, and if I had a month worth of food and water, it would have never come in useful. But that's why that's where, like, you know, the fundamental personal conservative, like, it's like, but what if it does? So that's fine. But acting like getting gold bullion, and stockpiling AK-47s you're burying in your backyard. That's lunacy. That's LARPing for red state people. That is pretending like, oh man, whenever the shit, I got my shit hits the fan bag, or I forget what they call it, my bug out bag, and like I got my mountain cabin, and like when all the fucking dark people come, like
unless you live in California, because a bug out bag is appropriate.
And like I said, up until a year ago, I was a pretty regular member on like the indie gun owners forum, like Heartland America, and that's the way they talk. I think that's crazy, and it's never going to work, and like. It's just going to get a bunch of people shot and killed, and probably like in that 1 month disaster scenario that you got to survive, there's going to be a whole bunch of survivalists to fucking shoot each other over some stupid shit because they've been dicks, they've been hard for a long time thinking about this day coming. Yeah. It's just like
if you're looking for apocalypse around every corner, you're going to see an apocalypse.
Can I shoot people? Can I shoot people? Holy shit, I can shoot people. I mean, like So, I mean, not everybody. But I do feel like it's a hobby. It's a hobby that people enjoy doing, and I guess, but don't fool yourself into thinking you're going to be fucking, you know, who is the big bad on Mad Max Fury Road?
I haven't seen it.
You're not going to be that guy. You're not going to be that guy.
Charlize Theron.
You're not going to be that girl.
Okay.
So.
I do actually think, I should probably keep like a month of water on hand, and water is easy because you can cycle it, right? You can just like.
Sure.
Okay, I've got my month of water. I'm going to drink through this gallon and then replace it.
All you got to do is not fix your basement situation, and you're pretty much done.
Yeah,
turn your lower level into a cistern.
In the once every 40 years. I hope that the 40-year record floods coincide with the other apocalypse that needs to happen here.
Yeah.
Because, then I'd be all set.
Yeah.
I just suck off the concrete floor.
Lick the moisture off like a deer. Okay. Boy, we got some hard-hitting questions.
We do.
Dana Quinley, 0223. We know Aaron believes all drugs should be legal. Do you know of any good articles, videos, podcasts, etc. with evidence for this, or where you found evidence for this belief?
The Netherlands.
Yeah, I mean, actually, Darwin Fishy posted an excellent article by Carl Hart, who I was familiar with from his interviews on The House I Grew Up In. Is that the documentary that David Simon co-produced about?
I think so.
And like, it's like, I mean, to be perfectly honest, what really violently changed my politics on that was watching The Wire.
Yeah.
And that opened my mind to the fact that, you know, addiction is not a moral problem. And a lot of money is being made, and a lot of civil rights are being eroded. And as bad as, here's the thing. As bad as you think drugs are, making them illegal and adding enforcement just makes it that much more miserable. It's just like, there was good reasons to ban alcohol. Like the Temperance League had a lot of things right. Dudes are getting drunk, abusing their kids and their women, losing their jobs, getting in fights, causing all kinds of mayhem. All making it illegal did was make a bunch of criminals rich and flooded our streets in blood. With all the other misery on top of it.
Yeah. So
I think you should watch this video that Darwin Fishy has helpfully, because this guy is super fucking credible, because he lived in the environments. He originally, because that's the other thing, is like the concept that The House I Grew Up In really opened my eyes, is a lot of respectable black folk were way on board with the war on drugs, because like, this shit's destroying our communities, man. Yeah. How can, like, we'll do anything to make this thing go. And they were open arms with law enforcement. And 30 years later,
a symptom though, yeah.
30 years later, I just feel like the drug war is the tip of the spear against all this soft war against essentially minorities.
Yeah.
And it's yeah. So like, I'd watch this video, that The House I Grew Up In. It's on Netflix, I believe, still free to watch if you have Netflix. It's excellent. And if you think that another 10, I mean, how many more years you want to give this? 10, 20, 30 more years of this is a good idea, then great. If not, vote. Fucking vote for, and it's hard because I've made it a point in the last 4 years to look up my local politicians and support the ones that are serious about criminal and drug reform. There's only been like 2 or 3. Like Republican and Democrat, when they get to like, what are you going to do about the heroin epidemic? It's the same fucking thing. More law enforcement, more youth education, more, and it's the same shit that I've heard my entire life. And in my lifetime, it went from heroin to crack cocaine to meth, and we're back to heroin,
to opioids, to
which was the gateway to heroin,
to painkillers.
Yeah. So it's like it's a big subject, and honestly, if you really care about it, you need to spend dozens of hours of research and convince yourself. Look into LEAP, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. They're an organization of law enforcement officers that said this is enough. This is destroying our communities. This is destroying our police departments. They're another good resource you can check into. Do you have any more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oshkosh Bajosh says, how excited is Aaron to have another season of revisionist history coming this month?
I just saw it drop this week, the preview.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, listen to Revisionist History. That's another podcast that will fucking flip your mind and change your politics about stuff.
On a related note, have either of you been part of a mass delusion in your post-JW life that you know of? Not that I know
Mass
of.
delusion? I got to say, it's a hell of an inoculation. It's like surviving smallpox. You know, like, I am deeply skeptical of the tech. Like, I can feel the techniques used by different sides of the political aisles and corporations and religions, and I've got this spidey sense for manipulation, and it's like an instinctual, like this doesn't feel right. I can feel the yoke. I can feel the noose around my neck. I can feel the blinders over my eyes, and I don't like it. So no, I mean, I'm not bragging, because, like, again, I was fucking deluded for 2/3 of my life.
And it's key to say that you know of, because if you're part of a mass delusion, you don't know.
Right.
Until you know, and then you're not part of it anymore.
That's my big problem with rationalists. Like pure rationalists, and we've had a bunch of debates, is that is it David Hume? That's basically saying
philosopher
that you can't like yourself is the one thing you cannot empirically study. So, like, your own biases, your own behaviors, your own interactions with people, there's no way you can externally step outside and be like, is Aaron behaving ethically and morally correct? You can't.
Yeah.
Which is why, it's kind of like that's where the scientific method will take you so far. It's bang up for curing diseases and putting rockets on the moon, and for deciding how to grow more food for people, but like distributing resources and bringing justice and things like that, it's not great. Not super great for.
Combine that idea with subjective reality, and you're well and truly fucked.
I mean, speaking of Matrix, I mean, I've just resolved that we've all living in simulation, so I've just given up. My apathy and fear or my fear and rage have given way to apathy. But no, I'm just kidding.
Can you see the Matrix yet?
No.
Shit.
No, it's still blondes. And,
if you ever do, let me know.
Blondes in tight red dresses.
Okay.
Jenny T, are there any one show or series or films you could have wiped from memory and didn't go in fresh again? What would it be? Godfather and The Wire. Super easy.
Yeah. I mean, just the best I've seen, like Breaking Bad. I'd fucking love to do Breaking Bad all over again.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a ride.
The thing is with The Wire, like, I went into it by listening to Jason Whitlock and Bill Simmons, like, hyping it to the moon. So I was watching, like, the first 3 episodes with my arms crossed, like, and then, like, 4 or 5 episodes in, I'm like, this is, like, the best fucking thing I've ever seen. And, yeah, so I would like to experience that with fresh eyes again. The other question Jenny has is there anything you'd like to see wiped away so you don't have to remember what drivel it was?
The prequels.
All of the reality television I've watched.
Really?
Yeah. I spent so much time in my 20s watching reality TV, and I don't like.
But if you wipe that away, wouldn't you be susceptible to being drawn back into it now?
Maybe. And also, what was it competing against? Because, like, that was pre-Golden Age largely. Yeah. So I missed out on NCIS Butthole.
No, the very first NCIS, I imagine.
Right.
Missed out on CSI.
2.5 Men.
Sure.
I mean, there's like, I'm trying to think of the Frasier. Frasier's probably. Yeah. I don't feel like, like not.
Will and Grace.
Eric Walquist's head just exploded.
Home Improvement.
He's writing me a very strongly worded email. I haven't seen it, man. I haven't seen it. Okay, it's probably the best fucking show on television. Best comedy ever. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, all reality. There's a couple things I'd probably miss. I'd miss Dual Survivor. I'd miss the first excellent season of Dangerous Catch. But by and large, that stuff is shit that I just don't need in my memory anymore. What about you?
It's fair.
What would you wipe out of your memory banks?
I mean, the prequels are a great choice.
Yeah, because they really kind of did a lot of erosion of my enthusiasm for something I care deeply about.
I would still be a much bigger Star Wars fan, I think, to this day.
Because
the prequels didn't happen and the new movies did.
We had the novels, we had the video games.
Yeah.
They were good.
Yeah.
All right. It's your turn.
Snooperdoo asks, favorite movie so far in 2018, and what is your most anticipated movie for this summer?
Shit, I can't.
I'm looking through my watch list. Annihilation was great. Black Panther was great.
Annihilation was great. Black Panther was great. Avengers was good. Really good.
Avengers was good.
I'll go so far as to say I think Avengers is the better film. The Black Panther is more important. This is like The Wire versus Breaking Bad, but Avengers, I think, was a better, more consistently entertaining superhero film. Because that was my one complaint about Black Panther is the action was kind of in a lot of places. Especially since they trotted it out a month and a half later for the Avengers. Like, you know, like half of the climax of the Avengers was essentially the climax of Black Panther.
Yeah, I just I don't know. Avengers has some things that I chronically complain about.
Yeah.
That really annoyed me, whereas Black Panther didn't. So
but they're both great as far as superhero movies go. Yeah, Annihilation is a really strong. Annihilation was a movie that I thought a lot about for a long time afterwards. Yeah, I'll probably give that the crown so far. Ed1892, in your final Walking Dead podcast, you quote Bald Move rule number 4. If you have an itchy ass, visit the doctor. But in Westworld Series 1, Episode 9, rule 4 is chopping a foot off is an asshole move unless you're trying to save a person from a bear trap.
That must be rule number 5 then.
For what it's worth, I think they're both sound advice, but surely only one of them can occupy the number 4 spot.
They're A and B, aren't those? Those are both similar health-related issues, yeah?
Caleb Thrower from South Carolina says Bald Move desperately needs a wiki.
Spoiler alert.
We actually have a wiki. We just are not finished coming up with the... I'm about ready to just be like, you know what, fuck it. Choose like a dozen bald movers from the forums that I like, just at random, so I'm sure no one's feelings are gonna get fucking hurt. And don't jockey for it. Don't email me for it.
Oh, they're going to.
I just want to like pick like a fucking council of the bald and say this is what I kind of want the wiki to happen, but I don't really care. Make it so, you know, do whatever. I mean, because it's for the community, more for us.
Yeah.
So, like, what you guys and gals would want to do with it is kind of whatever. Like, I know one of them is going to be like, you know, like probably a per episode kind of breakdown or like notable moments, and I kind of was trying to work out templates for that, so it'll fit within like seasons of television, so it'll be easier to browse. But like, shit, you got just so many smart people. I don't feel like I need to hand. Maybe I should just turn it loose because we got it.
Just appoint someone the czar of the wiki and they can determine that stuff.
Holy shit, yeah, you can. It's actually live. I could give out the URL right now.
You could probably guess the URL if you were exceptionally tuned
there
in.
You go. There you go. If you can guess the URL and hack into the wiki, then it's yours.
No, wait, it's not like a publicly editable wiki? It's not a true wiki?
I'm not sure what kind of moderation I set up. I'm not sure if it's like you have to log in first. But yeah, I imagine if you're a verified user, there's only like you and I think are the only admins, but that's the thing. We just need to nominate some admins and moderators that want to do it, and
yeah,
we'll get that, because you're right, that would be awesome.
Should start a forum thread on that.
Okay. Not this weekend. I'm way too fucking busy.
Okay.
But Texas. Oh yeah, it's your turn. Sorry.
Let me scroll up. BJ Wyckoff wants to talk about Fortnite. Is 50 versus 50 a joke for people who can't win? Great first #1 Aaron, and is spending money on a battle pass worth it, or is it just skins and dumb dances?
It is just skins and dumb dances. Okay. But it's fun. It gamifies your experience. It gives you goals to work for. It encourages you to explore parts of the map you'd otherwise not see. So I think it's worth $10 because if you complete the battle pass, you get those $10 back. Because every like 10 levels or so, you get 100 V-Bucks. So I guess you can't get it back in US dollars, but Yeah, I think it's worth it. The skins this season are kind of eh. But on the other hand, I just noticed some of the skins I thought were blasé get more and more awesome. They have like unlockable like armor components to make it look cooler as you go along. So I'm kind of mollified by that somewhat. But yeah, I think the battle pass is worth it, just from the like encourages you to try different weapons and try different techniques and explore the map, and it also changes up the gameplay because, like, you know, when one of the named areas is the place where if you got to get 3 kills the week, it's going to be a shit show. Like this week, like Haunted Hills, no one goes to, but because you had to loot 7 chests out of Haunted Hills, like 20 fuckers would drop on Haunted Hills, and when do you ever see that happen? That's kind of cool. So yeah, I think it's worth it. It's $10. What do you want? So on a free game, do you want to spend $10 every 3 months on a free game? If so, buy the fucking battle pass. If not, you don't have to. You can still get the full game. Texas Sandman's gone back to being a full-time vegetarian, mostly because I like to switch things up, but also because meat quality is getting expensive, or quality meat is getting expensive. I really enjoyed listening to your Cowspiracy podcast. Lots of great thoughts and discussion. Even though the documentary is pretty one-sided in its approach, 2+ years later, how's your relationship with meat or other animal products changed?
Not at all, but I would say meat should be expensive.
Fair point. I continue to, red meat especially, and pork, become less and less part of my diet. I eat a shit ton of turkey and a less of fish, but it's mostly that. Like when I talk about those barbecue, that's the time I eat pork. And like I'll have steak 2 or 3 times a year. I'd never eat ground beef anymore. But again, that's the thing. It's like I will freely admit that I'm a hypocrite, because if I stuck to my full convictions, I'd be a vegetarian, because I'm convinced that if we're going to get along on a planet with 10 billion people, we're going to all have to become vegetarians and maybe occasional meat eaters, or we'll get lab-grown meat or something like that will happen. But currently, the cowspiracy is one-sided as it was. Still accurate as far as I can tell, that like the rest of the world can't eat like America. Absolutely not. We don't have the fucking land, the arable farmland and pasture and grazing land. There's just no way. Even you know, kind of cruel factory farming techniques are not going to scale up to feed 10 billion people that way. So, you know, what happens when, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you know, it's all fun and games until people start starving.
Yeah, that's why I say meat should be expensive, because it should reflect the actual cost of...
It's like gas, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want gas to be 85 cents a gallon anymore.
Right. It should probably be like $10 a gallon.
Yeah.
To reflect the harm that it's doing.
And maybe we should like slowly, incrementally add up the tax to wean people off of it and make other alternatives that are better for us and as a species more viable and attractive. I don't know. Yeah. That's what politician Aaron would do. But politician Aaron would be like, well, you want to tax gas, but you won't fucking stop eating pulled pork, you fat ass. And I'd be like, you got me. The moderator ruthlessly murdered me. Don't vote for me. I'm a hypocrite.
That was coming from the moderator? Jesus
Christ.
No,
the moderator would be like, I see those bitch tits on you. You eat red meat, son. Don't act like you don't. It's like that episode of Penn and Teller's Bullshit where every single one of their panelists, they like freeze frame and they'll have vegetarian and then freeze frame carnivore, and the carnivores were always pudgy, vegetarians always lean. Like, is this a subtle piece of commentary? I get it. I get it. All right. Do you have any more? I'm getting towards the bottom here.
Yeah, I got a few more. Nate A says, you guys into going to concerts? If so, what's your favorite concert you've been to? I'm not a huge concert guy, but pretty pumped to see Metallica in March. I feel like Metallica isn't what it used to be, but I
bet they still put a rockin' fucking concert
yeah.
on. I heard they're like 3.5-hour extravaganzas. I went to, like, one of my first concert going experiences is I went to the Monsters of Metal tour at the RCA Dome. Doubleheader, Guns N' Roses and Metallica. And Metallica, because like Guns N' Roses kind of shit the bed on that concert. Axl showed up drunk. He's from Indiana. He talked a whole bunch of shit about the town. And then they took the stage an hour late. Played like for 45-50 minutes and, you know, went off and everybody's booing like the fuck. And then Metallica came on and maybe to make up for it, but they just like melted faces for like it went into like 1 o'clock in the morning. 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 1 o'clock in the morning So that was cool. I went to a really great Florence and Machine concert at an outdoor park in Indianapolis. That was during her Lungs tour, which was very memorable. I went to a Proto Man concert in a dive bar in Kentucky that was fucking rad. That's like, so you got stadium, more intimate, to dive bar. That's I covered my bases. What about you?
I one time, hear me out. I one time went to a Kid Rock concert.
What's a ba, brother?
In Conseco Fieldhouse. But we watched the opening band, which was Tenacious D, and then we left.
Oh,
because I wanted to see Tenacious
D. Was opening
yeah,
for Kid Rock. Okay.
And I was like, well, damn it, I gotta see.
So you
Tenacious D.
You paid the Kid Rock.
I paid
surcharge
the Kid Rock tax. Yeah.
Did you notice a noticeable number of people making away for the exits after?
I didn't pay attention, but
was it a good set?
Yeah.
Okay.
The trouble is we were so far away because like
Right.
Conseco Fieldhouse is so big. It's like we were in the upper deck and
back in the infancy of the internet, I saw a lot of like taped Tenacious D performances, and they seem like they're a lot of fun.
That was cool.
High energy, lots of improvisation.
I saw a really good Bush concert way back in the day.
Yeah.
It was at the Murat in the Egyptian Room. That was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun seeing We Are Scientists, and I went to a Tegan and Sarah / Death Cab show in Cincinnati. Yeah, that was a real good one.
I'm thinking like there's other concerts that like I saw as a witness that may be kind of lame, but I thought they were pretty good. Like I saw Bob Seger. Some guy gave me free tickets, and I've heard Like a Rock and all the like classic ants, but he's got some of the deeper cuts are pretty good, and some of his new stuff was entertaining. He's a showman. Like these old guys that are still playing are doing that for a reason. Dave Matthews was always like a good time. Like that was like, I don't know why, but like all the Jehovah's Witnesses were really into Dave Matthews, probably because he wasn't into profanity much.
Right, he was just into drinking himself stupid on stage.
I didn't realize how many people were smoking marijuana.
Oh, tons.
I
mean, it was like a 90s backward hat, puka shell, white boy frat party up in there.
Hell yeah.
And they were all smoking.
I was blind to all that shit, man. I didn't even know what was going on. And then
I went to a Fish concert.
I saw
once.
a Billy Joel River of Dreams era concert that was really good. He's got a very deep catalog that's got like some fucking rock and shit to it.
Yeah.
I forget what the name of the song is, but there's one about Vietnam, like We All Go Down Together, something like that. I'd never heard it before, and the way they played it and staged it was just really moving. Yeah, so I don't go to many concerts now because I don't like loud noises.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get a little tinnitus in one of my ears, and I'm like I'm wearing ear protection when I mow my lawn with my battery operated lawnmower nowadays.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wouldn't think that would be very loud.
It's not, but when you start to get a ring in your ear that just never goes away, no matter how much you want it to, it's maddening. It's like started in the last 6 months, and it's
or David Letterman.
Yeah. Oh, does he have tinnitus real bad? Let's
probably
see.
From all that tennis he plays. But
yep, you get tinnitus super bad. George Exile from the Dominican Republic want to know about my projector setup in my bedroom. What am I using for sound? I actually use the shitty sound that's built into the projector, and it's like the projector's about 2 feet from my head, so it works. He looked into Sonos, but it's pricey for what they have in mind. I mean, I'd be tempted to just go and get like a Vizio soundbar from Sam's Club for $99 and call it good. Like, how good do you want your sound? And also, tinnitus, I'm not a golden ears like audiophile. I'm the worst guy to give you advice for that. Do you have any?
No. I mean, if you want it to sound amazing, yeah, you're probably gonna have to pay for something that sounds amazing. But like, you can get really acceptable sound from, like you were saying, those sound bars. You don't, in a lot of cases, you don't even need like a 5.1 setup to get that effect. Just get one of those sound bars and they'll kind of do it for you.
Right. Do you have any left?
Yeah, some of them are kind of involved. Like, I want to talk about this TV crash one from David Hanna, but I feel like if we start talking about the TV crash, we'll be here till 3 o'clock. So
TV crash.
I'm going to wrap it up this week, and maybe do these next week.
Yeah, we went long on some of these questions, and there's some good ones like preferred movie theater seat location, 4 or 5 things to fix Star Wars, protest in Puerto Rico. Like, there's why am I optimistic about my general trajectory of human progress, even though all the shit I talk about, like. These are another 2 hours of questions.
That's cocktails with Jim and A-Rod.
You got to get earlier in. You guys got to show up the day before to get those questions in. They're great questions. I just don't have time to talk about them.
Yeah, go to the thread for next week and ask right now.
Yeah, because we're already a good 10 minutes past our usual 90 minutes, which is already 30 minutes past
Yep.
the 60-minute format we started off with. So, happy May 4th. May the 4th be with you.
Go watch a Star Wars movie today.
Yeah, and I hope you have a great weekend. It's fantastic weather where we're from. Hope it's fantastic weather for everybody else.
I'm gonna go on a walk.
Go out and do. Yeah, we're thinking about like I got to dig 2 stumps out of my fence line this weekend.
Fuck.
But then we're thinking about like jumping in the river afterwards.
How big are they?
One's about 2 foot in diameter. It's going to be...
Christ.
It's not going to be quite like the scene from Shane, but it's going to be pretty quick. Nah, I'm just going to fucking shovel and axe it, baby.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to strip down my waist, and I'm going to get masculine with it. I'm going to rip that fucker out of the earth.
That's definitely masculine. Ripping tree stumps out of the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to get weird with it. Going to rub dirt all over my body.
Not because women don't want to do it, but they're smarter than that shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull some stumps out of the ground to get because that's the last that we took down the rest. I don't know if I told you the odyssey of this shitty fence. We got this shitty 70-year-old chain link fence that's between my neighbor's property. He's the older guy who's got a bad back, and it's just gone full jungle mode. And there's been like big 2-inch thick vines that have grown in between it, and trees that have like the bark is literally merged with the chain link and all that stuff. And it's taken me like 3 weeks, but I've ripped all that stuff out, and I just have like 2 stumps I got to dig out, and then I can put up an actual nice fence to replace it.
Nice.
So I'm almost done. That'll be nice. That'll be nice when I finish that. The joys of home ownership. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you next time.